Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Dial the Gate, Season 6, Stargate Atlantis, Unfilmed episodes. I have a couple of special people with me today. I have Nicole Rodriguez-Galdo
Hello.
and Yvie Cahill.
Hello.
Hello. Was that a Vulcan salute?
Yes.
Okay, I saw half. So
Oh,
I was like,
I don't
wrong
actually know what
franchise.
I'm doing. Sorry.
This is Christmas morning.
Yes.
I got a notification from our producer, Linda Gate Gabber Fury. She said that Joseph Mallozzi had posted outlines, small little blurbs of episodes for season 6 of Stargate Atlantis. I
Yes.
never thought I would see the day. And I haven't looked at them because it's like, no. This is a moment for us. This is a moment for all of us as a community to enjoy these together.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
if you want
But
to,
I did
yeah,
I ruined it slightly for myself. I did read the first handful
okay.
of descriptions, but I didn't delve any deeper than say episode 10. So,
Only
and it
half
was
the
just a
season,
very
huh?
brief look. I was very excited that Uncle Joe has gifted us this present on Wormhole Wednesday.
Joey
Uh,
says not too long until AI generated episodes. Maybe this is why Joe is releasing these now, so that he
Maybe.
Or
can.
maybe he heard wind from Amazon that they weren't going to take any of the previous stuff forward. And so he was like, well, screw it. I'll just tell people what it was.
What have you heard?
So, nothing. That's just my
Oh,
assumption.
oh,
That's what I would assume. Wouldn't
uh,
it be crazy if that's the reason? If he heard something in the rumor mill, so he was
mm,
like, well, I'm just going to do it. And then Amazon, because Amazon's doing their own thing. That'd be really
yeah.
nice. You know,
I
I mean, it's
mean,
not nice,
yeah.
but it would be nice, but it's not.
and
Come
Joey
on.
also raises the sad thing is it means he's probably given up. I mean, season 6.
What's sad.
That's
That's true.
the show has been off the air now for 15 years.
Yeah.
Its 20th anniversary is this summer. So there's only so much that you can expect out of it. If they're going to do another Stargate set in the Brad Wright canon, it's not going to be season 6 of Atlantis. It would be newer stories, you know, because
Yes.
Potentially
as
universe
writers,
kind of
they
stuff.
wouldn't be like, well, what was I thinking of 15 years ago for a couple of stories,
Yeah.
sure, but not the whole thing. So this is
No.
a chance for us to look at, I'm not going to belabor this. This is a chance for us to look at what was in Joe's mind as executive producer of Stargate Atlantis
Yep.
alongside Paul Mully at the time approximately that was going on. So we're going to
Yes.
open up the hood on this. If you want to go to Joe's Twitter feed, that's perfectly fine. But we're going to go through all this together one by one. So let's go ahead and have a look. You guys have it up?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay. So, let me see here if I can enlarge for everyone.
It's so sad that he's done this, but it's so nice. It's like it's a combination
Yeah.
of just like
Yeah,
so
it's a
What
bit
would have been.
bittersweet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't quite know how to feel because I'm thrilled that I can read these synopsi, whatever the plural is, and like
Yeah.
kind of imagine what he had in stall for these episodes. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, you're right. It's a little bit sad because he's obviously closing the chapter on the Atlantis storyline
I mean,
and
I,
sort of putting it away for good.
maybe he was like going through documents or something and just found some, you know, it's like, oh yeah, maybe I should post this. I don't know
Maybe.
that this moment in time is indicative of anything, but let's go ahead and look at what was planned. So
Yes.
so on Twitter, X, gosh, the platform formerly known as Twitter, Joe wrote, yeah, this is about 12 hours ago, 15 hours ago now. Stargate Trivia, the Atlantis Season 6 stories we never got to tell. Oh, and it'll be in the description, this link, once we're done, so you can go through it at your leisure. Stargate
Absolutely.
Trivia, the Atlantis Season 6 stories we never got to tell, the whiteboard ideas for the show's 6th season, and a rough summary of each episode. Now What? 1 and 2, also known as Stargate Extinction. So the opening two-parter would have been the Stargate Extinction script, a time travel episode that would have seen our crew stranded in Triangulum. So I've heard for years that it was another I assumed that it was Andromeda. So the Triangulum Galaxy. There they encounter a curious civilization as well as an unexpected foe in the form of a future version of Todd the Wraith. With the help of present-day Todd, however, our heroes manage to turn the tables on the enemy and resume their journey to the Pegasus Galaxy.
Okay.
Interesting.
So
Like to see Christopher Heyerdahl again.
Absolutely.
No,
and I'm kind of excited by the prospect of 2 different versions of Todd.
Yes.
2 different versions. That's great.
I do know.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Yep, sorry, you go. You go, David.
Okay. I I do know that the Novan story arc from Universe was heavily borrowed from this idea of the usage of the time travel. So in middle of SGU season 2, they opened the wormhole into the sun. The Stargate, well, it doesn't really loop back in on itself. It loops forward on itself to the distant past 2,000 years ago. And they continue to move through the galaxy and discover human descendants. And I thought this was one of the best concepts that SGU, that Stargate did. Frankly, it was heavily borrowed from this script. So they pulled some of the elements out of that Stargate Extinction and applied them to Stargate Universe, because at that point Extinction was not going forward.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's creative.
Yeah.
Reuse, recycle.
That's it, you know?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if it's a good idea, use it, so.
Right.
Yeah, so
you know?
I'll be completely honest, and I will say that I haven't watched Atlantis probably in about 12 months. So you guys might have to remind me of certain plot points. But where we ended Atlantis, so they were in San Francisco Bay.
Yes.
So how were they supposed to get to the Triangulum Galaxy from the bay?
Well, at the start of Stargate Extinction, one of the first shots is Lorne and I think Zelinka in suits staring at Atlantis. They're all on the surface of the moon. So by the opening of Extinction, I've got the script somewhere. I've never read it past the opening scene.
Oh, wow. I knew that the moon was going to be involved somehow.
Yeah.
That is really cool. All right.
Yeah. While I was working at Stargate Command, I had a chance to look at Extinction. I probably should delete the file. But it's buried somewhere. I don't know where it is.
I was picturing like a black suitcase with like one of those locks on it.
The nuclear football. That's funny.
Like 2 keys for 2 people.
I didn't want to read it because it was like, at some point we're gonna see it, and I just buried it. So, but yeah,
that's how I kind of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where that went. So by the end of part 1 and part 2, or Stargate Extinction, however you care to look at it, they would have found themselves back in the Pegasus galaxy. So
I mean, there's no point in keeping Atlantis where it is. You got a flying city. Take it somewhere.
Yeah, well, true.
Why not Triangulum? Let's go to Triangulum.
Will travel.
That's it, exactly. So okay, so Yvie, do you want to read 603?
Absolutely. So this is Children of the Corn / Fantastic Four. So while traveling aboard the Daedalus, our crew comes across a seemingly derelict ship. They board and, while searching the darkened interior, discover a group of children in stasis. They revive the children, who explain they were en route to a planet to be reunited with their parents, colonists who had completed work on a new satellite community. The children are welcomed aboard and are being ferried to their destination when a mystery ship appears and opens fire on the Daedalus. Our heroes try to outpace their pursuer, but as a game of intergalactic cat and mouse ensues, the team begins to suspect that their young passengers may not be as innocent and harmless as they appear. Wow.
More kids.
Yeah.
Yes, more children, up to no good, apparently.
these shows always do like kids quite early on, and then they give up on the concept of kids after a certain point, because it's like, yeah, we're done with that. Too many kids.
Boxy, anyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Battlestar. Oh dear. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, someone asked Ron Moore in the Ron Moore version. They asked him, "What happened to Boxy?" He's probably chasing his little lost Muffet. So it's like, wow. And that was actually someone from Sci-Fi Channel had requested that they do that. So that they bring in
okay.
a kid. So I think that someone else they wanted either a child or a puppy for
It doesn't
the
work.
miniseries. So it's like, okay,
Battlestar.
very good.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
spin it off.
So
All right. Well, I mean, that synopsis sounds
interesting.
pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Them
Yeah.
simple
All right. So they're
kids.
going to pick up some more people.
Yes, evidently so.
All right.
Evidently so.
Just keep picking people up.
Nicole?
Well, it's a big city, so
it is.
There's work for everybody, I'm sure.
Nicole, do you want to read the next one?
Yes, so Carl's Replicator story. I like the title already. 604. Progeny, the real world, phantoms, echoes, lifeline, ghost in the machine. Carl Binder was the king of ghost and replicator stories. No doubt he would have written one for the show's 6th season, and it would have been brilliant.
Ooh.
I love that. I love that it's like, we don't know what it would have
Yes.
been, but it would have been something along those lines, and you would have maybe enjoyed it.
And it would have been
it's like,
incredible.
yeah.
So the Replicator's story was not fully resolved.
No, which is quite
Apparently.
interesting.
We have
Yeah.
an Elizabeth Weir in Deep Freeze.
I was going to say they could have gone and
That's
gotten
true.
her.
Michelle Morgan had played her at this point. They could have brought her back for that. I always felt bad about
Wow.
Elizabeth because it's like, that's it?
Just dead.
Really?
Just
kind
floating
of
in space.
just
Get her in a
left there.
jumper, you know? Go get her.
Yeah.
At that point, they should have drifted all enough apart that, you're not going to worry about one, trying to clamber onto the jumper.
Well,
One of
like
the
after
others.
everything she sacrificed for
Yeah.
the
did so
Atlantis
much.
crew, she's just sort of just left there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really
Yeah.
tragic end. It always did kind of leave me a bit. Season 5 did not make me happy in a lot of ways. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought the show got better and better every season.
I thought it got better.
Yeah,
And then season
I
5 had some
enjoyed it
ups and
pretty
downs.
much
Oh,
all
sure.
the way through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Classic Stargate.
Mm.
Who's doing this one?
I am. It's my turn. Classic Stargate was an idea Martin Garrow pitched. A story that would take place in the early years of the Atlantis expedition. Flashbacks to an adventure we had never been privy to. So before...
That sounds really good.
I like that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, around the time of season 8 of SG-1,
Yes.
they were thinking of doing a Lost episode.
Oh.
For, like,
okay.
Or as like a, I don't know if it was going to be like an episode or as a DVD movie, but I remember Michael Shanks talking about this, and I remember other people mentioning it as well. They were going to do just an episode set earlier. And I thought that
Okay.
it was a great idea.
Oh, well, such a big Lost fan as well. That's like the ultimate crossover for you.
Absolutely
Yeah.
right. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah.
So
Not the same ending, though.
Well, no.
No.
No, absolutely not. Jack O'Neill
No.
dying with Vincent with him. So yeah. But that's, classic Stargate. So a story that would take place in the early years of the Atlantis expedition. So very cool. All right.
I like that. I like when they fill in the blanks.
For sure.
Because
Yeah.
we don't always get a lot of information. I guess at the start, there's usually gaps in the story, but I really like when they go back and fill them in.
Well, one of my
A
favorites
lot
was
of
Before
good-
I Sleep. So that's
Yeah.
Before I sleep.
Yeah, a lot of my favorite series will do this as well. I just, off the top of my head, I was just thinking of Frasier. I don't know why. But yeah, they did something similar with that, where they
Really?
went forward and then went back, and it was terrible. The wigs were awful. You could tell that most of the guards were wearing wigs so that they look like earlier versions of themselves.
But it's not a dream
like,
or
the
something.
story
They
was
actually
okay.
move through
No.
time.
No, they didn't move through time. It was just like a flashback, I guess. But
Oh,
we
backwards.
weren't, as an audience, we weren't privy to that those scenes,
Okay, those
in the
particular
correct
parts of the
timeline,
story.
if that made sense.
Yep.
So it was like filling in the blanks.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I liked that.
My folks are the Frasier lovers in my family. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
my mum was a big Frasier lover.
yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
So that basically just proves that I'm like a baby boomer at heart.
That's all good. Carter Roshomon 606.
Roshomon.
All
Should
right,
I read
Yvie.
this one?
Please.
Okay, I'll just struggle on the word Roshomon. So Carter Roshomon was a story idea that didn't make the cut in season 4 and ended up in the season 5 pile, despite the fact that Carter was no longer the base commander. It was originally envisioned as our spin on Kurosawa's.
Akira Kurosawa.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry if that's mispronounced.
Yeah.
1950 classic. Colonel Carter faces a possible court-martial and dismissal after an off-world op goes awry. During the ensuing investigation, we are offered 3 different flashback versions of the changed events. What happened and what was she being accused of? Guess we'll never know. Since it didn't make the cut in season 5, I moved it into the potential season 6 episode discussion list.
Interesting.
Wow.
3
I just feel
different
like she's
flashback
beyond
versions.
Court martialing
Yeah.
at this point. It just like the
She's
amount of times she
uncourt-martialable?
should have. Yeah, she should have been court-martialed a bajillion times by this point across SG1. And
Carter?
like,
Really?
are you
Well-
joking? They ran to Apophis's ship and went and did naughty things to save the planet. You know, it's like, come on, guys.
Things. Oh, yeah, as a group under the command of her superior officer.
Yeah.
But like it's and they and then we have like upgrades. I know they were under the influence of a device, but like
Yes.
We're here for you. Ready
Yeah.
to go.
Well,
Just say the word. Jack, get the hell out of my office.
I feel like kicking a wall all of a sudden.
Interesting.
So what I would have wanted from this, obviously, is official confirmation that Carter is with Jack. Obviously.
Oh, of course.
I
Like
didn't even think of
there
that.
as like support or something, like even if it's just a hint, because
Yes,
we
Yvie.
had like it was like kind of hinted at in is it trio? I want to say the
Yes,
Yes,
there was
it
a
was
deleted
trio.
scene
but it was a
that
deleted
said that
scene.
she's dating someone in
it's
DC.
canon.
Yeah, and it was lent on quite heavily, and I think maybe there's like a photo of Jack in her office, but there is a photo of the whole
There are some
team,
photos
so-
from the wedding from 200, and I'm still suspicious.
There is, yeah, as Daniel's wearing like the same suit.
Right,
Yeah.
yes, because those
Yeah.
are the production photos that they took. Yes, that's true.
Anyway, so I would like that sort of confirmation in an episode like this where he's there offering her support while she's getting court-martialed. But it wouldn't surprise me if this sort of episode was like a bit of a had a bit of a twist at the end. So like it seems like she's done something naughty and things have gone awry, but it was actually, like some other group or whatever working against her to make her look bad. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Like a bit of a conspiracy type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah,
see
that'd
what
be
you're saying.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It could
Yeah.
entirely be.
Yeah,
For
I like
sure.
that.
I Sam has a heart of gold, but like any human, she
Yes.
can't always
She's
see
not perfect.
every potential outcome, despite the fact that she has the IQ of something ridiculously powerful. So, all right,
Yes.
Nicole, the Red Shirt Diaries.
I'm back with Carl Binder, and also Red Shirt Diaries is a great name. Carl Binder wanted to do a story told from the POV of a red shirt, which I quite like those red shirt stories. Those are some of my favorites. Like Rogue One is very much like that. That's cool.
Mhm.
Yep.
One of those ubiquitous no names we lose over the course of an op, who is mourned then quickly forgotten in the episode tag when the team is yucking it up in the cafeteria.
I actually like that idea of a story.
I love
Yeah.
it. My favorite thing. So like Halo Reach is essentially Rogue One, where like everyone's gonna slowly start dying. It's a great game, and like it's about the unsung heroes of these events because so many names get forgotten. In the long run, you always
Halo
remember, like-
Reach.
yeah, Halo Reach, the game, is essentially like Rogue One.
Is
and
it
came
in the
out years
Halo?
before.
Is it in the Halo canon?
Yeah. It was a prequel. It was a prequel
Oh.
game in the
Oh,
games.
okay.
And it came out. It happens just before the first game, and it was one of the most beautiful, harrowing experiences I've ever had. And so, like the idea of just having people who are gonna die and watching their story is so heartbreaking and
Yes.
fascinating. I'm just
Hey.
like,
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, Atlantis. I mean, I'm trying to think. Atlantis never really did the other guy's lower decks kind of episode that I can remember.
I think Zelinka is as low a dex as we're gonna get. And
No.
I saw him as
Yes.
guy, so, yeah.
Yes,
Oh no,
the
they did
king of the
kind
red shirts.
Letters from Pegasus was kind of a lower decks kind of look.
It includes
of the Atlantis
everybody.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that was
sure.
the one
That
time
was
we
more
saw the lower
inclusive.
decks, really. So.
Yeah.
My boss is a
Um,
great man as he runs around stubbing his toe.
Just like being so mean to her, and she loves
Jeez,
him.
absolutely.
That's me.
Oh, that's
love
funny.
Not to us, it's not. Did you hear what he did? Oh, jeez.
Oh God.
All
Good times.
right. Is it my turn?
Yes.
It's your turn.
Sheppard DOA. Inspired by the 1950s thriller, Sheppard DOA would have seen John racing against time to find out how he was infected with a deadly toxin and ultimately who was responsible and why. And also maybe find an antidote.
Maybe.
Oh,
It's
so this is like that Wraith bug, but he's a little bit more with it and able to launch his own investigation.
Right, that's what I was thinking. It's like a little bit of that from season 2 and Tabula Rasa from season 3.
This is my only
just
issue
awry.
after doing 15 seasons of Stargate SG on Atlantis is that the shows are so similar that you do kind of have to start reusing material because like there's only so much
giving it a slightly different spin. Yeah.
No ideas are created in a vacuum, you know.
No.
Everything's
inspired by
is
something else.
inspired by something else, you know. Either things come to us in a dream, you know, where we've been chewing on other things that we've been interacting with and something new comes out of it, or, you know, we're thinking of a great piece of art that we love and it's like, you know what, how can I adapt an idea of that art into the canon that I've developed for this thing over here? So this is where a lot of ideas begin. So Sheppard DOA.
True.
The Replacements 609. Yvie.
Okay, so Brad pitched out a story in which the team run afoul of an alien race and, while being pursued, end up victims of a temporal effect that catapults them 6 months into the future. They return to Atlantis to find they've been given up for dead and replaced. As they attempt to settle into their new positions and work with their replacements, the alien race indirectly responsible for their predicament pays Atlantis a visit.
That
Kind of reminds me of The Return. In a way, where
yeah,
they kind of bunched out on their roles by the
Get
end.
off of my sofa.
Yeah.
Stop eating the food from my fridge.
It is sounding kind of familiar. There seems to be a lot of episodes that were pitched for this season that involved like time travel.
Mm-hmm.
That's just so good. Time travel.
Yeah, Mr. Gibbs UK.
Yeah.
Lots of time travel episodes in season 6.
Yeah, but I'm not opposed to it.
Well, if it works, it works. You know, I would rather have a season 6. SG1 of SG1 Atlantis of time travel episodes than a season 7 Star Trek The Next Generation of here's my long lost cousin, here's my brother that I've never mentioned, here's my mother that I just never found out
Sounds
about.
like Grey's Anatomy.
It was one of the issues of
Sounds
TNG
a little bit,
season 7 that people looked back on the show
a little bit trashy.
Well, it was
Kinda
like,
seems a little bit
we've got a lot
easy
of
or something,
family
I don't know.
episodes this season. So
Yeah,
but time
okay.
is one that, as long as it's internally consistent, you're okay.
Yes.
So, very cool. And I love this idea of it's kind of like what Continuum did, you know, where we don't immediately undo the time travel problem. We're stuck. We just stay where, instead of trying to undo the past, we stay where we are and try to press forward until we have no other choice, prompted by our
guess
enemies.
as well, it gives them the option of bringing back characters who are maybe like deceased. So it lets them like broaden the story a little bit. Does that make sense? Because if they're just moving forward, I mean, I guess it is sci-fi, so anything can happen. But I think they're opening up a lot of different avenues by going back. So yeah,
Raj
I think that's an
Luthra
interesting idea.
asked me, with this release of information, what does it mean for the future of Stargate franchise and the fans? It means
that's what I thought.
It means
I
that
thought Amazon might have done something
it means that Joe wanted to, you know, share some more information and entertain everybody.
I appreciate that Joe is coming out and being like, hey, here's his stuff. Here's just keeping the fan base kind of alive and constantly giving us food is you know,
nourishment, sustenance.
Yeah, he's literally
nourishment.
giving us
I
like it's
the
like
yellow
little
ones.
treats. That's why I would like to call him Uncle Joe, because he's like giving us his little treats. He's spoiling his Stargate nieces and nephews.
15 years after the fact.
Yes.
But hey, I'd rather
It's
have the
never too late.
information now
It's
than
not
never.
too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
Dan Ben, there was a Dial the Gate interview where one of the showrunners said they would have rescued Weir and that she was somewhere out there. So Joe wrote, expanded on a scene from Stargate Extinction that would have ultimately brought organic Weir back. That she did not blow up on Asuras. If anything, she was stored off-site. So...
She
And
didn't
no
blow up
freezer
Weir's
burn.
anyway. Wasn't she in a ship?
No
orbiting?
freezer burn.
No, the replicator Weir was.
Oh!
I'm talking about organic Weir that we last
Organic,
saw with
original.
Oberoth in, I think, 402. So, yeah.
OG.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have loved that.
Yep. So, and Tori actually came to San Diego Comic-Con to read those lines. So it was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
That's really cool.
Okay.
Season 2, part 1 and 2 is me.
Yep.
So
Yes, you've got a big description.
Yeah, slightly bigger. The mid-season 2-parter would have seen Sheppard's team return to Atlantis following an op, only to discover it has been taken over by Wraith hybrids. Ooh. But not just any Wraith hybrids. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay, while they were off-world, Michael, my guy, my boo. Oh, frosted tip, bro. Love him so much. Who survived the events of Prodigal. Oh, yes. Targeted the city with a biological attack that has transformed the Atlantis personnel into hybrids. Yes. Sheppard, McKay, Ronan, and Taylor soon find themselves on the run from their former friends and a determined Michael out for revenge. Oh my god, I love Michael so much. Any excuse to bring him back.
Connor never believed that the Michael that we saw in the Prodigal was, the final Michael. It's like he puts himself into check very quickly by getting himself trapped on Atlantis, and he's just done for at that point. So he never fully bought that ending for the character. And this suggests that yes, it was still a continuing story. Yeah. When you've got a great actor.
I'm okay with it, just so long as it's not like Apophis 2.0 where they just keep on bringing him back and you're just like, oh god, will you just die already?
Just stay
I
dead.
never want Michael to die. No, never. I want to marry him. I'd be his Wraith hybrid queen. Connor Trinneer, pick me up.
Why am I not surprised?
I love him, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna lie. He's so hot. He's so wonderful.
But I kind of like the idea of them playing like cat and mouse in Atlantis trying to escape him. That's kind of cool because there'd be so many like little hidey holes and
I'd love to see them all as hybrids.
Interesting parts that they might not have discovered yet.
And now all their friends have turned into zombies. So essentially on the run, from their former friends, So so they're being chased. So
Michael,
I can't even think of like how do they get out of that? How did they get out of that?
So McKay would have had to have developed an anti-hybrid retrovirus, or they would have had to, fly the puddle jumper around the sun really, really fast to undo the damage. That's my dad's argument every time there's an issue with it's okay. They can just fly around the sun and undo it. Yeah. Or a Klingon bird of prey, or whatever, it's just like.
I mean, Taylor became a Wraith queen for 5 minutes, and then they undid that pretty fast. So, like, you can do a lot of magic inside.
Stargate Atlantis has a lot of flexibility in that regard in terms of. You know what? But that's the show. All right, is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, Hamster Ball. Okay, very well. Sometimes you come up with an idea fully formed. Other times, it may be nothing but a vision. In this case, a vision of the individual team members trapped in giant hamster ball-like containment vessels. I'm
just
sorry.
let that sink in.
Right. Okay. Compounding the problem is the fact that they are trapped in a small chamber, direct line of the Stargate, meaning the next time the gate kawhooshes, they risk total annihilation. How do they get trapped? How do they get out? And most likely, what the hell else happens in this episode? You'll have to ask Alan McCullough. I would love to. I've been trying to get him on the show. So, interesting.
Well, that will have to be one of your questions about the giant hamster balls.
One of my issues with Atlantis was we ran out of Stargate-type problems that dealt with like the Stargate itself fairly early on in the show with like 38 minutes. and things that interact with the gate more. We kind of got a little bit of it in the shrine, because they were all sitting on top of the gate, and okay, so there's water down there. How do we deal with this? Is the water going to flow through the gate to Atlantis? No, because the gate understands the push and pull of the fluidity of whatever it is that's trying to go through. And so there's not an intent to push through. So little things like that I love, because the show is called Stargate. So interesting.
Yeah, true. It basically is like it's a member of the team, the Stargate. So it's nice when it's got a story where it's like the center focus, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or in this case, the villain, I guess.
Have you guys ever
It's gonna
done
annihilate
hamster ball
people.
races?
No, I haven't.
No.
No, I haven't. I
Have you
get
seen it?
horribly motion sick, so
Ah.
it probably wouldn't be a good thing for me to do. I'd be
I also get horribly
spinning in a
motion
ball
sick.
of my own, like,
Sick. Yeah. I was gonna
I
say
have
Evie
done
and I
it.
would be like both experiencing that. That'd be terrible.
Did you enjoy it,
I
David?
did. We had a good time. We
Yeah?
raced. We raced the hamster balls. Yep. It was a good time.
I just feel like Evie and I'd be that thing where we're like slammed and then just spinning constantly while we're like in that scene in The Incredibles when the kids are in that
Yes.
shield ball and then the parents are
Yes.
getting squished over and over. That'd be me and Evie. Would peak.
Yeah, that
so.
would be. That would be.
Evie, yesterday.
Okay.
Today. Tomorrow.
Indeed. Okay. So, McKay's experiment with a time-traveling puddle jumper sends duplicate versions of the team both backwards and forwards in time.
A lot of
The
time
story
travel.
jumps between
My
there
goodness.
really
Really?
is. The story jumps between 3 different timelines, 5 years into the past, where one version of the team struggles to acquire the puddle jumper and undo the damage done without affecting the timeline. 5 years into the future, where Atlantis is under siege by the alien race introduced in the Deadless variations, while another version of the team attempts to acquire the jumper so they can warn their past selves. And the present, where McKay continues to tweak his experiment with developments in each timeline, influence events in the others, en route to a mind-bending climax.
Interesting.
Wow.
Okay.
I always
Okay.
wanted the Deadless variations
sounds good.
to finally get like some extra
What's
stuff
going
about
on there?
it.
The comics pursued them because
Yeah.
everyone was like, okay, what was that?
It was really cool. It was
Yes,
a cool idea.
yes.
I was like,
Really
what the
cool.
hell is going on?
Yeah.
Even like, so Jeff Golker, Ritu Charlie, who just finished watching Atlantis, he was like, are they coming back? And I was like, we don't got time, Jeff. Cry. So,
Yeah. No, they were a nice thread for the
Aw.
future. Who were they? What
Yeah.
were they up to?
Yeah,
I
that's
was
true.
trying to figure out, because I hadn't read these. I was trying to figure out what image I should have for our
chose the perfect
discussion.
image.
Well, what I did
did.
was I pulled up this page and I typed Deadless variations, and it came up, and I'm like, okay, the aliens are somewhere in this season. I'll go ahead and use the image that I have. So yeah. So I was wondering
I
when they
just
were going
had
to
a
come
thought.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, having them back would be awesome. And I just had a thought. We never got an identity on the aliens from Grace in SG1. How cool would it be if they
that's
were the
what Hoshi
same
Reed was
aliens?
saying in the chat.
Well, these guys, their ship was shaped like a Star Destroyer. So
Yeah.
they could have radically different ship designs. So
Yeah.
and in 2 different galaxies. Keep in mind that was Milky Way. This is Pegasus. So
Hey, look,
That's
the,
true, but,
the ancients
you
were
know-
lurking in both galaxies as well. We love to lurk.
That's true.
love to lurk.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Hexed, Nicole.
Oh, goodness. While visiting an alien community, Sheppard is cursed by a kooky local. Okay. At first, our heroes laugh off the incident until Sheppard runs into a spate of bad luck. Very bad luck. Shep Wumpers rejoice.
Oh. I love the word womp.
So wumpers are people who enjoy our heroes getting into physical injury.
Oh,
Yes,
goodness.
action. Yeah, it's like action sequences.
So interesting.
Brilliant.
Okay. Hexed.
Yeah, I like that it contains the word kooky.
There was a Deep Space
Yeah.
Nine episode about, I forget what it was. Maybe someone in the chat can tell me. But there was a Deep Space Nine episode about luck, and maybe there was a scientific way to actually increase your odds of having good luck. I don't remember what the episode was, but maybe someone in the chat knows
okay.
DS9 more than I've seen the show twice through. But yeah, this is like the opposite of that. So it's like, what if there was a scientific explanation for the role of the die in
Yes.
terms of fortune? So physical
Yeah.
situations, you know,
Oh.
getting yourself
Yeah.
ahead socially. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Entropy.
You're
So,
up, David.
okay. I
That's
don't know
you.
why I keep losing track of myself. In season 5, Paul Mully wanted to do a story in which the effects of the McKay-Miller Gate Bridge have serious otherworldly repercussions for the city. But we ended up doing something similar in Brainstorm, so we pushed this idea. So I reimagined, a version where a mishap with a ZPM triggers a subspace burst that disperses time fractals throughout Atlantis, and within these various shards of warped spacetime, the rules of physics no longer apply.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I
So
mean,
similar to
that.
Brainstorm, but different.
I like to brainstorm. I like
Okay.
Genie. I like
Yeah. Yeah.
It would
Bring
have
back
been an
Genie.
excuse to bring Jeannie back to perhaps help with this, or
Yes.
Maybe we can get
Yes. The
other Rod
siblings
back.
reunited. That would
And
be
it
cool.
feels
Yes.
so
The other
good.
Rod. Yes. I
More
love that guy. It
McKay.
reminds me of
Rod.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever watched Red Dwarf, but
I've
it
not seen
reminds me of this episode, and I can't remember what season it is, but there's like Rimmer, and then there's Cool Rimmer, and I can't remember the name of his alter ego. But he's like, you know, like the team love him, and he's just like this different cool guy, and it was so funny, but it reminds me of that. So,
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
all right, so me with revenge.
Revenge. Okay.
So Sheppard and his team must mount an op to save Todd after he is captured by rivals, reassuming her role as a Wraith Queen.
good.
Yes. Taylor leads the team aboard a hive ship in order to track down and rescue their unlikely ally.
Interesting.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
I feel
lovely.
like the show really underutilized Ronan and Taylor a lot because
Yeah.
obviously Atlantis was a bit more scientific, and you know they're more the fight.
They're the action oriented.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when Rachel became pregnant, and then they incorporated it into the show for Taylor, that added up a whole like new storyline for her that was so interesting. I'm like, I'm so happy that they did that for her. So seeing her again being able to do that would have been awesome. But where's
Yes.
the Ronan stuff, guys? Like, what's Ronan doing?
Yeah, there's
That's a fair
no
point.
mention of Ronan so far, is there?
Well, maybe
he's
they-
ruling an underwater Atlantis.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe they were like, oh yeah, Game of Thrones, Aquaman.
And
yeah,
Atlantis, a different version.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I like that. I like that kind of them like buddying up to save Todd, their
Yeah.
prior enemy.
Well, you know, yeah, our relationship with Todd has evolved in, you know, since Stargate Extinction 601, 602. So this makes a lot of sense. Payback.
Oh goodness, is that me? Right. Following devastating attacks on 3 other teams, Sheppard and
Company.
Poe's off-world investigation takes a surprising turn when they are attacked by a puddle jumper. Ooh. On the run on an alien world, they're pursued by an enemy who is able to predict their every move. Their mysterious pursuer is revealed to be Lieutenant Aiden Ford.
Yes!
Rainbow's back.
Yes,
A
Rainbow.
group of mercs armed with ancient tech. Our heroes must find a way to turn the tables on their former friend and ultimately find out the surprising source of his all too familiar resources. I'm always
Yes.
going to be miffed at the for me, just I felt it was an unnecessary just deletion of Aiden Ford from Atlantis. I didn't feel that they
Agreed.
just needed to bin him off the way they did. It would have been really
Yes.
cool if they followed up on the enzyme and like committed to the Lost Boys storyline and brought him back in, but they just
Yeah.
kept not bringing him back. And I'm like, what are you guys
Yeah.
doing? So
That's
it's an
interesting.
absolute shame. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have liked to see Ford again. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it would have been good. It would have been good. It would have been cool if they didn't reveal that he was going to be in the episode, you know, like excluding his name from the credits at the
Yeah.
Oh,
beginning.
until, halfway through.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Rainbow back for this. I love
It's
Garrow's nod to
better,
him
actually.
in 501 Search and Rescue.
That was really good.
That was
I really,
really
appreciated
poignant.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's forever just like, so Stargate has always been a like team-based show, right? So SG1
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation with Rainbow about this a few years ago where we were talking about how these are team-based shows and that like when you get rid of someone it just always feels a bit like wrong, you know, and you got to find
Yeah.
a good reason to get people in and out. And
Yes.
and with like I'm still bitter about Jonas just being binned off when Daniel came
Oh,
back.
me too.
No need for it.
That was rough.
Yeah, and yeah, they got rid of Aiden, but I do think that like, Ronan kind of filled in his shoes, but what was Ronan really adding to the universe in his own way?
It's a fair point.
Like there wasn't as much incorporated, so I feel like they could have continued with Ford.
The original note for Ronan is that, and I remember Brad mentioning this, is that they wanted a character who was dangerous.
Taylor's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she has a softer side too, I guess.
Like, so does Ronan.
Yeah, so does Ronan. I don't know.
get it, but I don't. I will always feel like Atlantis is the one that was a struggle for me to truly appreciate it because
I understand
doing things. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, but season 6, I feel like would have patched a lot of the holes for me. So.
Turn of events, 618. With an uncooperative Ford now imprisoned on Atlantis, Sheppard's team investigates the most likely source of the black market ancient tech from 215 the Tower.
Everyone's favorite episode.
We're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud. It's funny. There, they discover Atlantis' sister cities in the hands of a group of rogue Janai led by none other than Acostus Kolya, who we learned survived the events of Irresponsible thanks to a modified personal shield emitter.
Wow.
I love Kolya.
I don't know
my
how
guy
I
needs
feel
to
about
die.
that. Yeah.
He needs to stay dead. I'm sick of people coming back.
At a certain point, you stretch the believability too thin when, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this would be, like the third character or something that's coming back. I mean, it's good to have returning
I'm
characters,
sensing
but,
a theme.
They're dead. Like, leave some of them dead.
Rest in peace. Get us some other Janai people. That are,
it turns out Kolya has been busy consolidating his power base. Our team's attempts to thwart him fail, necessitating a tactical retreat, but not before they obtain a crucial piece of information: the mirror location of the ancient ZPM factory hidden on Atlantis. So Joe and I talked about this. Where was the ZPM factory?
That's a good question.
And my response was, it had to have been somewhere near Atlantis. If Atlantis is the crown jewel of the entire ancient domain, it would have been nearby, if not in the city itself.
Yes, they're not outsourcing their ZPMs.
No,
they're making them. They're making them nearby. Yeah.
I always thought, if anything, it could have been, on the ocean floor in that mining facility on Lantia. In season 3, I assumed some place like that you would have found them relatively kept away. But I
just had a silly outsourcing joke in my head where it's like, most of our stuff says like made in China on the bottom. The other one will be like the ZPMs will be like made on Earth.
we found the location of the ZPM factory. It's on Earth. Who knew? It was under our noses the whole time.
As always.
What is I'm sure Nicole will remember when Jack is speaking ancient like the second time around and they go all the way to that planet and then they end up having to come all the way back to Earth.
Yeah.
It'd be like
Lost City is hilarious.
Yeah.
We needed to get a battery because he knew somehow that the one on Earth
dead.
would be dead. Yep.
I would say with the Turn of Events episode, I think I would have preferred if they had brought in maybe I like when the stuff from the Milky Way sneaks over into the Pegasus, like the Gould being on board the Daedalus and doing bad stuff, and then the Wraith virus was cool too. But I think that they could have maybe brought in the Lucian Alliance and be like, maybe they're trying to get all that cute juicy technology over in the other galaxy and do that stuff.
This is true. Did the Lucian Alliance have have powerful enough hyperspace technology to get to Pegasus?
Well, I feel like they could have just snuck some human people on into the teams and just snuck them over,
Lucian, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Some undercover agents.
Yeah. Also, if you get that ring and you stab some people, to be like, I'm this person now. Let me go.
Oh, the real.
Oh,
chemical.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Yvie.
I
Pre-finale.
am pre-finale. Okay, using the information gathered last episode, our heroes are finally able to access the city's hidden ZPM factory. The room, it turns out, holds even more secrets, the locations of similar ancient storehouses throughout the Pegasus galaxy. An exploration of one such seemingly long-abandoned chamber yields a shocking discovery, none other than Elizabeth Weir, who is being kept on ice since her capture by the Asurans?
Asurans. Yeah.
Cool.
This is all I want. This is all I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Return of a legend.
Yeah, I had a feeling that her... for the Stargate Extinction script, he had written a Return of Elizabeth, so...
That is cool.
And unveiled
Actually,
it at San Diego Comic-Con a few years ago.
I think there's a little bit more to this.
Someone made a good joke, by the way, saying,
text.
turns
Yes.
out Einstein was ancient and he was the manufacturing engineer.
Jeez.
That would have been brilliant.
Yes.
I would have liked that.
That is awesome. So,
Thank you, Arnold, for that.
Interior. Yes, so we've got a script here. I think
Yes.
these are pages from Extinction. Interior, derelict Asuran compound corridor.
Are we going to read those?
Sure. Sheppard leads the team, McKay, Ronan, Taylor, and Beckett, down a darkened corridor.
Can I
Their
be McKay?
flashlights, offering fitful illumination of their seemingly long abandoned, though no less eerie surroundings. McKay consults a handheld device that emits a sustained hum. Beckett, how many of these locations were on that list? Sheppard, this is 8 of 12. Taylor, go ahead, Yvie.
The Asurans may be long gone, but their technology still exists. It's just a matter of locating their assets.
Ronan, who wants to bet we come up empty again? Suddenly, McKay brightens at the sound of a sustained low whine emitted from his device. McKay.
Sustained energy signature dead ahead.
They press forward. Weapons at the ready, and interior, Surin compound. It's a lab. Enter a long-abandoned lab, unfathomable equipment, and a Surin data hub, and tucked away at the opposite side of the room, an upright stasis chamber. Its surface opaque and impenetrable.
Well, this looks promising and spooky, says McKay.
McKay walks over to the data hub, and it comes to life in his approach as he surveys the data. What have you got? McKay.
Not sure. Data related to some sort of extended experimentation. Original test subject, neural imprint, duplicate construct.
Just don't touch anything. Suddenly, the pod lights up with a hum. Sheppard. Rodney, what'd I just say? McKay.
It wasn't me. Probably.
Sheppard, Taylor, Beckett, closest to the pod, advance as its shielding slides away and the amniotic steam releases on our shocked trio.
How is this possible?
Reversed reveal. Elizabeth Weir, lying in stasis. Elizabeth? Her eyes flicker open. It takes her a few seconds to orient herself, recognize the people standing in front of her. Yvie?
John? Taylor? Carson? How are you alive?
I was going to ask you the same thing. Off their shocked expressions. Fast forward to Atlantis Day. Keller. Go ahead, Yvie.
So I've completed a full diagnostic twice over.
Keller informs Sheppard, McKay, Taylor, Ronan, Beckett, and an equally astonished Elizabeth lying on an infirmary bed. Keller.
The tests confirm it. She's Elizabeth Weir, flesh and blood and nanite free.
But Oberoth said she was dead.
So a human form replicator who tried to destroy Atlantis and a liar.
Elizabeth, what do you remember?
Go ahead, Yvie.
Oh, me too. Yep, I'm talking to myself.
Doing all the women.
Yep, that's how it works, these things.
I remember buying you all the time to escape, being captured, and then nothing. How long have I been gone?
A
beat.
while.
Rodney? How many years?
Well, Supernatural is still airing new episodes.
So I couldn't have been gone that long.
The others exchange surreptitious looks, at which point Woolsey enters the room. Elizabeth, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Richard. And thank you for taking care of my people.
It was an honor. Now, if there's anything I can do for you, anything you need.
Lunch and a new wardrobe.
Of course.
And I'm going to need my office back.
They all swing their looks his way. Well, this is awkward. And off an awkward Woolsey. All right. With Elizabeth's help, who was reading this one?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah.
With Elizabeth's help, the team is able to gain access to an Asuran weapon specifically built to target Atlantis. Thus armed, Sheppard and co. pay a return trip to Collier, determined to neutralize this threat once and for all. But they are too late. They arrive just in time to see the ancient city rise up out of the ground and ascend up into the sky and the stars beyond. Our heroes are already aware of its destination, Atlantis.
Atlantis is going to fight its sister city. Yeah.
Wow.
I always assumed that Atlantis was, as we established, the crown jewel of the ancient domain. That other Atlantis in that other ancient city from the tower was in fact another Atlantis. If it was identical, because they didn't just have these things, you know.
No.
It was one of a kind. So there was a time travel accident
They don't
or
have
something.
like a Atlantis factory, like a Z
Right.
factory.
Can you imagine? Oh gosh. Okay. You ready for this one, Nicole? You want to read us the season finale?
Oh, you
do
got
it, yeah.
3 paragraphs, boo.
Oh goodness! Right,
Well,
let's go.
take the first one. I'll do the second one. Yvie can do the third.
Sheppard's
Alright.
team returned to Atlantis with the dire warning, only to be informed that long-range scanners have picked up the sister city and it's headed straight for them. All off-world teams are recalled. It's going to be all hands on deck as the city prepares for war and the sister city makes its inexorable approach. We are treated to some classic character-centered moments as the city readies for what will be their biggest battle against a better equipped, better prepared opponent. Finally, it is time.
Atlantis rises up off the surface of the ocean and makes its descent up through the stratosphere beyond the exosphere, taking up a planetary orbit. And when the sister city appears, Atlantis launches its jumpers and drones. Their opponent responds in kind. The most epic battle in Stargate history is joined. Sheppard skillfully pilots his jumper into the heart of the enemy city and lands on a pier. His team disembarks, a Surin weapon in tow, determined to finish the job they set out to complete last episode. But they're on the clock and running out of time, facing down enemy soldiers and drone strikes as they desperately seek to set up the Asuran weapon as close to critical systems as possible. But they're not the only ones running out of time. Atlantis, outgunned by a foe that's been preparing for war, suffers heavy damage. Even if our team succeeds in their mission, it looks like it will be a Pyrrhic victory. Is that a
And
pun?
then, I
Okay.
don't know. And then a fleet of hive ships drops out of FTL and concentrate their fire on the enemy ship. It's Todd. He and his fleet take the pressure off Atlantis, buying Sheppard and his team enough time to initiate the Asuran weapon and retreat back to the jumper, making good their escape as, behind them, the weapon initiates, setting off a chain reaction of explosions that claim the enemy city. Atlantis returns to the planet's surface. Sheppard thanks Todd. Wraith and human achieve an understanding, and peace finally returns to the Pegasus galaxy.
We just needed one more season, guys.
End of season 6.
Genuinely have goosebumps.
I'm not gonna lie, that was very like I felt like I was reading a book and I was like in there and I was like, whoa,
I
you
got
know?
Yeah,
goosebumps.
me too. An
Yeah.
hour's just flowing by, and I have a very
We just did
I
like a
have
whole
the ab-
season of Stargate in an hour.
well, I kind of have the ability, and I don't know if you guys are the same, but when I read text, I actually picture the story playing out in my mind like
Yeah,
it was
I'm the
a
same.
TV show. I know that like someone like Adam really struggles like visualizing things like that. So I know that not everyone has this gift, but I'm picturing this battle in my head, and it is freaking epic.
It is so epic in my head. It's nice and low budget in there. I can afford all that cool CGI.
Low budget in there, yes.
I mean, I'm picturing it with, 2009 level visual effects. So yeah, it's relatively low budget in the scheme of things. But yeah, it's
yeah.
wow.
I mean, it's free given that it's in my brain, so
I'm actually
know.
also picturing like the understanding between like Sheppard and Todd, like this
just such bros.
this thank you, and like I'm picturing some sort of I'm actually kind of picturing like a embrace of some description, but I think I'm
Of
picturing
hands?
that like Jafar like that Jafar handshake, but
Jafar
wrong.
handshake. There we go. That's better. Absolutely. Huh.
Well, didn't Todd get like done in the hand where like he can no longer
Was
either
that
doesn't have
Todd?
people.
Did,
Yeah, it was
did Todd? So Todd.
I think it was
I know that
No,
Michael.
feeds
It was
on
Michael.
wasn't he?
Michael no longer
Michael?
needs to feed. That
I
was the
thought
thing
Todd
about the
did it in
hybrids.
season 5, but I don't remember necessarily. I think they
Oh.
didn't they like convert his ship to try and make it so that all of the people on his ship didn't need to feed anymore.
That was season 2. That
in
was Allies.
No, but there was a moment in season
No,
5, I swear.
I think it kind of I'm
where
sort
it
of
comes
remembering
back.
something
Someone
from
in the
season
chat, tell me
5
if I'm
as
crazy.
well.
I remember watching a season 5 thing where for half the people it goes wrong and for half the people it goes right on the ship. And there's a horrible jump scare where like this bald, terrifying wraith just like leaps out at you. And I remember leaning really in and then suddenly like being thrown back by the jump scare. And I know it was season 5 because I had to watch that on YouTube in parts because I was like 10 and didn't know any better. So
Interesting. It's entirely possible.
he
Yeah.
reverted
I don't
off the
remember
arena
all of it.
Bug treatment caused the virus. So he's reverted back apparently. Thank you.
So he is a wraith now, or he's.
That's what someone's saying. That's what Oliver
Okay.
is saying.
Interesting.
They were arrested
Okay.
by the end of the episode. Thank you. I wasn't sure how they left that because it's been so long.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if we can come to an understanding with the wraith, the caveat to that would be, don't eat us anymore. So.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. I'm gonna
Yeah.
quote Colin Robinson from What We Do in the Shadows and say, "I don't live to feed. I feed to live." You know, it's not their fault that their lunch is us.
No, it's not.
know?
But that doesn't necessarily mean that we can continue to let them, continue
Eat us.
eating us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I think they are capable of being peaceful. Because look, Todd, he's all right. You know, it's like it's possible.
The
so-
Atlantis relaunch novels that Fandemonium put out, the Stargate Atlantis, I think the Legacy series, if I'm not mistaken, really give a deeper insight into Wraith culture. The girls who did that were really keen on the Wraith, and I think that they're worth reading if that's something that you're interested in. So you can go and get those for sure. I think they're available as
Okay.
ebooks too.
Oh, handy.
Yeah, actually, I think that you can get them
Alright.
on with if you have Kindle Unlimited. There are a lot of Stargate graphic novels and stuff
Oh,
that are
cool.
available as well via the comic section. It should be under there. So any stuff like that that continues on Atlantis and universe storylines is
Okay.
there. So
Oh,
Well,
handy.
I'm-
learned that at GateCon. So
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
during one of our interviews. So
well, I must thank Joseph Mallozzi for
Yes.
compiling this. This is really cool. I'm adding it to the description now where people can go and read it. But I wanted us all to read it together first time through.
I like to think this is all as pretty like canon in Stargate, and this will always be for me. Like when I
Yes,
think about Atlantis
it'll-
ending, I'm gonna think about this when I.
Yeah.
think
It'll
about
be
the end.
canon in
sure.
my head.
Well,
for
this was
sure,
their
I think.
this
Yeah.
was approximately their intent. So
Yes, this is what the creators envisioned.
Yeah.
So
it's
it
sad that
probably
they don't
would
feel
have
it's going
played
anywhere
out
anymore.
similarly. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't finish it, they can't do it, so he's given us this gift, and I appreciate that. If Amazon is planning on doing anything with Stargate,
acknowledge
then,
this.
Like, yeah, it would be nice if
Yeah.
they did that. You know, I've always disliked the approach of like just bringing in new people and not really appreciating the older parts of the fandom. And I really
Yes.
hope that if Amazon does anything, they're able to nurture a healthy relationship and with both new and old writers and fans all together. So
Yeah,
that'd
I
be
just
nice.
hope they're able to take the opportunity to tie up some of the loose ends from your Atlantis universe.
Yeah,
things
figure
like
out what
that.
Destiny's mission was. Bring some
Yeah.
guest stars in of the original cast, but do tell a new story moving forward. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't begrudge them that, but it would be nice to at least give us old fans, some conclusions to some of the pre-existing stories.
Yep.
It would be really nice.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you for taking this journey with me. This is really cool.
Yeah, thank
This
you
was
everybody.
fun.
for
I
was
showing
not
up last
expecting.
minute.
Yeah, I mean, I just
I-
found out about this thanks to Linda.
Linda.
Just 13, 14 hours ago, and it was like, oh crap, we have something to say. So
Yes, we got to jump on this
jump
while
on
it's
this.
hot.
That's it. Right,
Yeah.
Red hot. So,
I was
Yeah.
going to sleep and I was like, I saw it briefly and I was like, oh, David will say something. And then David was like, "Ah," and I was like, oh, I'm sleeping. So
it was
Yeah,
like
I saw-
1:55 a.m. for her.
I was so tired.
Yes, I saw Linda's Facebook message and I had a brief look, but I was getting ready for work, so I didn't have like the opportunity to read it. And then you guys were chatting like between the two of you while I was driving to the office. And then when I got to work, there was like pages and pages of text, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Red alert. Oh, that's funny. All right.
So I-
Everyone's in
I
the
will
chat,
go-
so thank you,
DEFCON
Kate Gabber.
DEFCON
Yeah.
5?
I will
DEFCON
say
5
thanks.
is the lowest.
Thank
Okay,
you for
DEFCON
DEFCON 1.
There you go. You've activated
you,
global
everybody.
defenses.
For being so cool and partaking and just
Absolutely.
being ready to go. This is awesome. So
If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more Stargate content on YouTube, please click that like button. It does make a difference with the show and will continue to help us grow. Please also consider sharing this video with a Stargate Atlantis friend. And if you want to get notified about future episodes, click the subscribe icon. And giving the bell icon a click will notify you the moment a new video drops, and you'll get my notifications of any last-minute guest changes. And clips from this live stream will be released over the course of the next few weeks on the Dial the Gate YouTube channel. Nicole, really appreciate you taking the time out of your afternoon. Yvie, the time out of your evening.
And if you guys want to catch us with this chemistry, come check out Wormhole Extremists on Sundays. We
Oh,
stream.
nice, neat plug.
We're somewhat polite to each other, and occasionally David and I have a spat, and Yvie is the referee, and it's really cute.
Yes,
So-
and I also have loads of really corny jokes.
Yvie's got lots of corny jokes,
Lots of
really
dad
bad
jokes.
puns, lots of really great moments, and we'd appreciate you guys coming over and saying hi. We're streaming this Sunday again.
Yes,
so
we're
come say
doing.
hi.
What are our episodes?
Uh,
What are we
2001.
We are doing 2001 is the second episode,
Yeah.
and
And
then
Between
the
Two
first
Fires.
one is yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
bye bye to the Tolan.
Yeah, very cool.
Ripperoni.
Please join me tonight, June the 5th at 6 p.m. Pacific time for Peter Fleming. We're going to be talking live with Malcolm Barrett of Stargate SG-1. So more from me today.
Yes.
I've got a pre-recorded show that's recording 5 hours from now, so I'm going to take a nap. So
Yeah, go take a
Please
nap.
do.
Right? All right, Kate.
recharge those batteries.
I'm gonna get back to reading my book. So,
Yes.
because I don't have work today because the servers all went down. So
Oh, okay. Well, you guys take care of yourselves. Thank you for sharing this with me. This was a really cool, unexpected, present to open. So thank you again, Joseph
Thank
Mallozzi.
you.
And
Yeah.
thank you, Nicole and Yvie. My name is David Reed for Dial the Gate, and I will be seeing you on the other side.